Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach the ones to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. And here you can see, it's about 2 weeks ago, the convention started. It's over now, but you had thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses. I believe they said it was 30,000 of them who were here, and they were walking through the streets. They were walking past the camp, and this is just a response to a video that the brother did because we're coming into a time where every false way is going to be dragged down. Every stronghold, and this Jehovah's Witness. Another branch of that false-ass Christianity, just like Calvinism, just like Baptist, just like Lutheran, Protestant, all of that shit is a false way. Okay? And as you can see here, I thought this was interesting. This is symbolic. You got a bunch of so-called black women being baptized by a bunch of Edomites. Okay, and this is just fucking. This is a fucking shame. This is a fucking shame. And that's all you saw. You saw so-called Edomite men and so-called black women. You had a few black men speckled in here or there, kind of like here, with these stupid ass suits on. But most of it was black women and so-called white men, the ones that I saw at least. I could be wrong, but basically brothers were preaching, brothers were speaking and talking, and these Jehovah's Witnesses, they were walking by acting like nothing was going on. They was looking, even the Israelites among them, they was giving us the look, the bougie look, like I'm better than you. Look, I got a suit on. All we're doing was speaking the truth. And that's why the Lord is going to punish and destroy 2/3 of the nation of Israel, because they're under every green tree. They're in every doctrine. Every fucking thing under the sun that you could think of. And you would think in 2019, you still have people who absorb their minds into this bullshit. Okay? You still have people who are susceptible enough to fucking fall for this bullshit under Esau. Alright, and I just want to bring out a little bit of history on the Jehovah's Witnesses, on the origins and the doctrine that they started off with, which of course, in order to gain more followers, just like every other branch of Christianity, they flip-flopped away from, and now it's a completely different doctrine, and that's wicked. Okay, that's off. All right, now the truth, in terms of the truth, the certain revelations do come out. Certain revelations are revealed over time, but certain pillars, okay, of talking about the Israelites, there are certain pillars that never change. There are certain things that are solid, okay? Unlike these different doctrines which flip-flop and back and forth. And ultimately it's the Lord. The Lord put the spirit on you to come out of this if you're lost into this. But hey, if you're lost in this, man, you're a special kind of lost. You still fucking doing this shit in 2019 when there's so much information out. Cause like, hey, let's say 12, 13 years ago, kind of before, YouTube really got popular, before, the word went out, before all these things started happening, before even the internet was that thorough in this kind of information. That's another thing, but, now we're getting into 2020, baby. Coming into the end of the year of Corona, it's no reason. So let's bring it out. It said Jehovah's Witnesses brought message of love so they even get a special order. And that just goes to show you what it's about. It's about money. Okay, because brothers have been out preaching for the longest. preaching here, preaching there, all over the city. Which we don't care. If, fuck Esau and his media too, but the only reason that they're bringing light to this is because they bring a certain amount of money to the city, and that's what it's about. So they'll send over the news people, they'll write a good article about them, and then people will read, oh, look, it's Jehovah's Witnesses. They're just preaching about God. But they're not preaching about the God of the Bible. They're preaching about the God that they tell you. That's what they're preaching about, and we can prove that. The convention theme was love never fails. If it's love, then how does love survive the conflicts and barriers that seem to naturally and inescapably separate us? More of this hippie Christian bullshit. And they cut the article short because it really wasn't a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. This is Matthew 22:9, because all of this is part of a story, but this can be taken literally as well. Matthew 22:9. Go ye therefore to the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So the servants went out to the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. And that's kind of what brothers, that's exactly what's going on now. You got brothers who come in and they're part of the elect. Only the Most High knows it, but they're part of the elect. Hopefully, Lord willing, I'm part of that elect. Then you got men who come in and they creep in unawares. They come in with other motivations. They come in, or maybe they do come in with a pure heart, but then, they're just not chosen. So the Lord takes that spirit away from them. That's another prayer I pray. The Lord never takes that spirit from me. All right? And it was all seeing men go to the highways and the byways, because that's the first thing I looked up. I looked up street preachers, preaching to the streets, because I know a lot of people who were in the streets, and they had conversations with them. They had a lot of things about why they don't like the church. They don't go to the church. You got a lot of sexual confusion in the church. You got a lot of homosexuals in the church, and for the large part, I agree, and that's why I had left. Many years before that, because there's so much corruption and confusion, and they try to emasculate you and make you to a fag, excuse me, I'm not supposed to say that. YouTube is gonna block me, baby, whatever, man. Fuck it. But anywho, that's exactly what's going on, and these people, they're in the convention center. They're in the fucking convention center, which. They got money too, because it costs a lot to rent this out. This is where the Rams used to play football at, and as you can see, it's deep up in there. On these first two, I don't know about the whole thing, but it's probably deep, going all the way around, full of Jehovah's Witnesses. So, yeah, man, look at Jake. Look at Jake. No, man. Anywho, because it's not personal, but you're in an organization with people like this. They don't want to show the dude's face, whatever. But people like this, you can see where the mouse is pointed at. So let's get into some quick origins of Jehovah's Witness. I'm not gonna make this long. 1900, it said the society receives a backlash from the colored brethren. In 1900, they're still colored, over a whites-only policy for volunteers. Reading matter distributed to a colored congregation would more than half of it be utterly wasted. An account of Reverend Draper turning white is printed under the heading, "Can restitution change the Ethiopian skin?" African tribes and nations described as degraded. White race is superior. Caucasians have greater intelligence and aptitude, ostensibly as a result of divine intervention in their genetic history. So they even cite God as it's the same Edomite supremacist argument. They're the superior race, the superior IQ, blah blah blah. We hear the same bullshit today from, you know, all these different Edomite supremacists on YouTube, Baked Alaska, Steven Crowder, all these assholes. It's the same shit. But then, you know, when Jake, because what happens is, you know, Jake in the inner city, a lot of them get cut off, but then you have Jake out in the suburbs too. You know, maybe they'll have lighter skin, maybe, you know, the father's a confusion of face, the mother might be a so-called Edomite, and so, you know, Jake will be out there too, doing just as well as Esau, and Esau not understanding, man, this dude is Israelite. Esau not getting it. Okay, so the Lord, the Lord had it like that. The Lord hid us, even some of us from the damn Edomite. The Lord hid some of us. And I've met a lot of Irish who they don't even click with so-called white people. They click with Jake better. Okay, it says God can change the Ethiopian skin in his own due time. So they were on this type of conversation. Excuse me 1 minute. Okay, so lock it. I'm gonna just jump through it. It says, here's another important part of your doctrine. Noah's curse on Canaan said to be the origin of the black race. The colored race are described as a race of servants. There is no servant in the world as good as a colored servant. And this is just, what's that? That's 90 years ago. That's just 90 years ago. So you got that was 90 years ago. So these people who are there now, their fathers and their mothers who might have been Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe that shit and they passed that down. Okay, and to a point where they probably discussed it, like, you know what, we probably shouldn't say that. Because that's ultimately what Christianity do. Whatever the progression is of the society that we're in, that's what they match. Okay, America has progressed from being in that's such a racist state. So now they've kind of progressed too to kind of match it, and so you can kind of, you know, find something to latch onto. Okay, they weren't rebelling against our own people. Like, look, these people are our brothers. These people are going to receive, you know, the kingdom just like us too. These people, they cited the curse on Canaan to be the origin of our race. Now, how did they know that if they weren't able to trace our lineage back? Because they felt that way in their wicked ass spirit, and they were wrong. All right, we know according to and we know according to maps, we know according to the different things that our people like to do, that that's incorrect. Okay, ultimately it's through faith. And this is something that no Christian wants to even talk about. All right? None of them. And in the many Bible dictionaries, it still says that so-called blacks, where we descend from Canaan. Then you got Zondervans, which I believe Zondervan is a so-called Jew. I could be incorrect, but I believe it's so-called Jew. He finally got it right. Look, the Negroes. They're not from Ham. They're not from Canaan. They're different. They got it right. All right, and then they revised it, I believe, and they took it out. But I got I got the first edition, and that's not in there. Well, excuse me, it's in there that not the Negroes. That part the brothers love to bring out. Okay, this is Rutherford's 1933. Rutherford's letter to Hitler described the Watchtower of society as pro-German, blames Jewish businessmen and Catholics for spreading propaganda against the society, declaring the suggestion that Watchtower publications might be funded by Jews a slanderous accusation. I'm gonna jump down. It said, really, our colored brethren have great cause for rejoicing. Their race is meek and teachable, and from it comes a high percentage of the theocratic increase. Yeah, because, meaning what? Many of our people were branching out, trying to find the truth. They're trying to find some spiritual thing to believe in. And the Jehovah's Witness, the Society of Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever, they were right there to extend that helping hand, which really, you're becoming a spiritual slave to these people, because it looks like a cult. Okay, people have a gloss over their eyes. They have to, even if you're what's the word I'm looking for? Even if you're banned from the brotherhood, I think somebody said you have to sit in the church. You just got to sit off to the side, and they can't deal with you. That's wicked. That's weird. That's fake too. Okay, and the blue letter. This is one cool thing I saw about the blue letter. They got study resources. They got certain resources. So if one of them maybe springs up on you, which you should also already know, the scriptures to deal with them, because there's so many instances, we're supposed to, the word of the Lord is a two-edged sword, and we're supposed to know and understand how to wield that sword. But just in case you might need to touch up on what their doctrine is and how to get to them real quick, you could jump in on the blue letter, boom, boom, boom. You could jump right to the reference guide. Okay, they say there is no Trinity. They got that right. Blue letter, so you got to pick the bones out too. Of course, the blue letter goes off on certain instances and certain topics. The Holy Spirit is God's impersonal active force. The Holy Spirit is not impersonal. That's something else. You're going to say Jesus did not rise from the dead in his physical body. That's false. So they got a lot of falsehoods in this too, which we already know. Jesus did not die on the cross, but on a stake. He was crucified on the cross, right? They tried. So, hey, you got to chop up some Jehovah's Witnesses. Use your resources. Boom, right here in your face. Boom. Some other interesting things I saw. Here's some other beliefs they practice. The soul ceases to exist after death. The scriptures tell you the soul goes up to the Creator who created it. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Our soul returns to Him that created it. Yep. They will not salute the flag. They refuse to vote. Okay. They will not. Okay. They do not celebrate Christmas or birthdays. They're on point with that. Even though they're still wicked. Their leadership does not allow them to serve in the armed forces. Those that lead that organization are known as apostates. Jehovah's Witnesses cannot talk to them or even greet them on the street. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're serious about their little cult organization. They're serious. For many years, it was taught that blacks were that color as a result of God's curse on Canaan. Boom. There you go. More falsehoods. It says lying. Oh, here we go. Lying is a part of theocratic war strategy. A Jehovah's Witness can lie to someone if they are not entitled to know the truth. So, hey, that right there, that pretty much that wraps it up. That's it. It's cut and print. It's last one. Periodically, Jehovah's Witnesses' doctrine will change. This is known as new light. And ain't no. But one thing I will say, dealing with our doctrine as the Israelites, certain things are brought out. Certain things are brought forth, from the apostles and the elders on down. But the main focal points in our doctrine do not change. I put it like that. Okay, certain revelations are brought out, certain things of understanding that may have been mistaught. That does happen. But not like Jehovah's Witnesses. They're going way the fuck off with this stuff. Hey, and that's it, man. Just wanted to bring that out. It's a lot more stuff you can read up on them. They don't have the truth. They don't have the oil. They don't have the spirit. You know, they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. They saw us. They ran up the street. They was gone. Okay, they're not defenders of the gospel. All right, and that's why the Lord told us to go to the highways and byways. He didn't say go door to door to people's house. That's going off. Because what you're trying to do, you're going to the highways and byways, and people pass by, they talk to you, they're out shopping, or maybe the Lord might send them on that particular path. That happens all the time. Somebody told us, man, I had a dream that you guys would be out here teaching. You know, which we don't know. It seemed like he was being sincere, and then the Lord had us sent out. And then, you know, we were talking to him, and boom, boom, boom. We gave him the word, boom, boom, boom. That's what the job was. We seal, you know, Lord willing, that brother be sealed, and he come back out and he do what he's supposed to do. So, hey, that's all I had though, man. May the Spirit continue to bless the brothers of Great Millstone, and you know what? May the hopeful elect be blessed. I put it like that. Okay, because the Lord is dealing with Great Millstone, but ultimately it's about the elect. And if you have elect members who are in Jehovah's Witnesses, who are Jehovah's Witnesses, which the letter J wasn't invented until much, much later, so his name couldn't be Jehovah. It had to be a Hebrew name. But even till, may the Lord continue to bless and seal the elect, okay, and destroy and abide the ball. Shalom.